So, greetings and blessed day to you once again. Today, we want to talk about the sexual discipline. So, when you are talking about the sexual discipline, we are obviously encountering or countering an emphasis spiritual that is based on your sexual life, which may seem to many people as a subject that can be taken for granted. But to those that are now married, you understand that your sexual life is a very sensitive area in your spiritual lives. It is also a combined activity that is private in your life. But not only is it private, but it is also crucial in your everyday to day life. So when we are talking about sexual discipline, we are obviously talking about the discipline, the required elements of behaviors that are required for people that are married. I would obviously not have presented such a presentation to people that are not married. But because you are married couples and you are no longer in a relationship, so I find it proper to make this presentation. And also, having made this presentation, I want you to understand that whosoever is not married and should by any chance hear this presentation, it is not meant for them. So, I want to talk about the sexual discipline. And I've already emphasized that for you to hear this is because you are now married. So, you'll realize that before you got married, you had many different relationships. We are not dwelling in the past, but sometimes some of the things that we are fighting in terms of weaknesses, in terms of habits, in terms of behaviors that are inspired negatively by lust, they have something to do with where we are coming from. Yes, even though the Bible tells us that when we get born again, we are new in Christ, but you still realize that there are certain behaviors within us or among us or inside of us that seem not to live or vacate our bodies easily. And these behaviors and habits, which are arrogant, which are like a stubborn stain inside our bodies, are sexually related. I hope someone is understanding what I'm trying to say. Sex is a very sensitive subject. Not only is it a sensitive subject, but it is something that is ritual. And sex being something that is highly spiritual, it is also that most people have taken for granted as an activity that can be committed, that can be activated, be done, and afterwards think they can just wipe off its evidence just like that, and no trace is left. I'm here to tell you that sex is a very highly sensitive, not only is it a sensitive subject, but it is a sensitive spiritual matter that can either bond or create or join a couple or even destroy. Sex can even go beyond destroying your business lives. Sex can even go beyond destroying a marriage. I think mostly to married people, what is more common is that people now understand that sex can destroy a marriage life. And how does sex destroy a marriage life? When sex is not done competently up to the required standards. You can never know that you are fully satisfying your other part, either as a male or female in that marriage. You can never know, because you might be dealing with someone that is coming from different sexual relationships, and from those different sexual relationships, he or she was indulging in sexual activities with people that had another level of expertise. And that level of expertise is not just experience. Sometimes there are sexual demons that empower certain people out there to be sexually active. I'll give you an example. You can tell that your other part is now becoming too adventurous in a demonic way during sex. I'm not saying sex should have rules, but you can tell that your other part is watching pornography during sex. And though it's going to be an act that pleases you, or going to frustrate you, or it's an act that is going to leave you with question marks inside your head. But what I want you to know is that sometimes failure to rise to the expectations of your other party can cause cheating, because you'll be highly expectant as a partner during sex of what is expected or what your other part expects, and it may happen that both of you may fail to rise to desired expectations of that so-called quality sex inside your imaginary minds. What causes one inside a marriage to have a higher expectation of what is called a quality sex inside his or her mind is the previous sexual affairs. These are some of the things that you cannot wrap inside your minds. You are now married, but there are things that you cannot wrap out of your minds. Yes, you can be able to manage each other, be able to be loyal to one another, but there are things that you cannot wrap out of your minds. Your past sexual life. I'm going to get to the part where I'm going to explain, even though you say to me, I've never had sex with anyone except for my wife, or I've never had sex with anyone except for my husband. I'll reach that part. But I'm still at the level of explaining to those that are now married but they had sexual affairs in the past. What danger do such people face? They face the danger of comparing and analyzing and weighing. When we talk about comparing, we are talking about people that are now married, and probably the husband was sleeping with the prostitutes, or was sleeping with the immoral women or girls that had a higher level of expertise that we cannot mention. Because when we talk about a higher level of expertise during sex, we are talking about many different capabilities and capacities during sex. And when we're talking about many different capacities and capabilities during sex, we are talking about a lady that is highly active during sex, or we are talking about a man that is highly active during sex. This is why some of you that are married out there, you are having a challenge of letting go of your ex. Why? Because you are comparing your sex with your ex from the past and your sex with your current partner in that marriage. And though your partner is good in bed, you can no longer compliment your partner. Why? Because it is very highly possible that the ex can be better than the current. But even if the ex is better than the current, remember the current, you are officially wedded or officially married. And this is the person that you're supposed to live with for the rest of your life. But by virtue of breaking the laws of God and having sex before marriage, you only get to realize when you get married that the sex life that I had before I got married has affected my marriage life, because you are now comparing. And it may happen that sometimes as a woman, you are being unsatisfied, you are being left unsatisfied after sex. Or it may happen as a man that after sex you remain unsatisfied. You still have those fantasies of a youth. You still have those imaginations of the sex life that you had before you got married. And this is the level that is required, what I'm talking about today, when I'm referring to what is called the sexual discipline. When we talk about the sexual discipline, we are talking about a mind that is content, a mind that appreciates the sex life that you have in your household as a couple, a mind that does not compare your sexual lives, the sex life of today and the sex life of yesterday. Yes, we are not saying you are going to fail to admit that the ex was better. Even though you admit it, but you need to be content that with what you have. To compliment is to be content. And when you compliment what you have, it means you are content with what you have. It may happen that your current husband is pathetic in bed. There is a room for improvement. It may happen that your current wife is a performer in bed. There is still room for improvement. It doesn't mean this is the end of the marriage. So, when you are talking about sexual discipline, we are talking about a level which gives a room for improvement in any manner that you do your sexual activity as a married couple. We can never explain about formulas of having sex because every couple has or have their own private moments, and the way they have decided or the way they have created a makeup or a design or a style of having sex which gives them the full satisfaction to their level of expertise. So what I'm basically saying is that when a couple has sexual discipline, it means a couple is not comparing. It means a couple is not looking beyond what they don't have. You are only looking at what you have, and you are having the full hope of making what you already have a level to the best level of satisfaction and perfection. It may happen that as a husband, whilst you were a boy, you had sex with so many girls. Do you know that there are spirits that get attached to you every time you have sex with the different ladies as a man? And when you get attached to those spirits, and if deliverance is not conducted, you enter into a marriage with those spirits. And those spirits, when you go to sleep, they bring back visions of your ex girlfriends, bringing up different significances and representations and reflections of faces of girls that you once slept with. Whilst you are already married to another woman. Why? Because these are the spirits that make you compare your past sexual life and your current sexual life. And you dream being intimate with another girl that you once had sex with in the past, whilst you are married to another woman in the future. Meaning that the only way you can be done with the past is when your current sexual life is perfected. And when it's perfected, you are able to rub automatically all the memories of your past sexual life in the future. You can never get done with the past as a woman that is married when you still have men or boys that you had sex with from the past that keep on coming to your dreams. Because if they keep coming to your dreams, if they keep coming to your thoughts, if they keep coming to haunt your imaginations, it means you are still weak at the level that you might reconnect with those people online, or reconnect with those people if ever you are given the chance to meet them. And if ever spiritual husbands have the capacity to reconnect you back into those relationships. So, the battle of having sexual discipline as a couple is a spiritual battle. This is how your sexual life becomes spiritual. It is never a practical activity. It is never only a romantic activity. It is never just intimacy that is happening in the practical, but this is an activity that begins in the spirit. It begins in the spirit by virtue that you are failing to get over with your past. And when you fail to get over with your past, you keep imagining Sandra in the past. You keep imagining Matthew in the past. You keep imagining Ayanda from the past. You keep imagining John from the past. And when that cycle continues, you are given the mandate, which is evil by the devil. And what mandate is that? You want to compare your sexual life. You want to experiment. You want to get into an adventure while you are married. That's when you start cheating. You are trying to find a match that can match with the sex life that you had in the past, with someone that is probably now married. You are failing to get over with your past, either as a husband or as a wife that is now married. So, people of God, what I'm trying to say is sex is a design, sex is a menu, sex is a flavor, and sex can be a recipe that you create as a couple. It is a unique design that you don't have to copy from others. Yes, you can be given advice by the Revelator, but you might have your own menu that matches you, because there is no other couple that is like you out there. It is your own capacity, it is your own design, it is your own map, it is how you feel, how you connect, how you bond as a couple. And when you reach that level of understanding, you have created what is called a sexual discipline maturity level in the spirit. And when you reach that sexual discipline maturity level in the spirit, you are now able to comprehend with any kind of temptations that may come from outside borders. You are now able to comprehend with any kind of sexual temptations or sexual tests that come from the past or the current life. No one can ever lie and say I'm not countering or encountering temptations or tests. That would be a lie. No matter what type of a sexual life that you have, what I want to assure you today is that it is very possible that the devil can still lure you into temptation even when you believe that your sexual life is healthy. Why? Because he can use seduction, he can use the attraction. All those are devices that can lure one into a sexual life, even though he or she was not prepared to end up indulging into fornication or adultery. And obviously, in this case, I'm talking about adultery because I'm presenting to people that are married. So, there is a room for improvement between a couple, even though you believe that your sexual life is dead. There is a room for improvement to make your sexual life as a married couple be that type of sexual life that you imagine inside your mind, so that you don't end up imagining the sex life that does not exist whilst you are married. Because when you imagine something that is not happening, you will start to look for that sexual life outside the marriage, which will now be a sin, which is called adultery before God. So, people of God, until next time, I hope someone out there who is married has managed to grasp the information concerning the sexual discipline that I've shared with you. Until next time, have a great blessed day.